Growing up in Bankstown, it wasn't. I guess I had good neighbors. Um, I didn't feel completely unsafe, but I also didn't feel like I could be there for the rest of my life. It was definitely a hard experience living in Bankstown and going to high school in Bankstown. That was really hard because I couldn't be myself. I felt like I couldn't express that part of who I was, so I hid in the library. I would read books and about art and music, and yeah, it was definitely a different experience. I guess I was really curious of like the gay and lesbian Mardi Gras as well when I was younger. I wasn't allowed to watch it when it was on. My parents kind of didn't want me to watch it. So I was always curious about that world of like Oxford Street and the gay community and everything, and I wanted to be a part of it. So when I was 18, I decided to start finding out what it was like and what people existed around there. And even before I was 18, I was listening to Queer Out West in Sydney, so I was always hearing stories about some of the things that went on in Western Sydney, even though I couldn't go to them. I guess I wanted to belong somewhere. So when I would watch Mardi Gras on TV, or like try to watch it, or hear about like an update about what's going on this year, because they'd always do a little bit of media coverage, I was just like, I think that's where I belong, or who I am. I guess like I love the color and the extravagance of like wearing outfits and just self-expression, and you know, meeting other people like me, because I hadn't met anyone else that was like me at the time. Well, there were 2 times that I came out, and so the first time was I started telling my brother and my sister that, you know, I might be bisexual. And I think it's like stepping stones. It's like, how much do you want to admit to people? It's like, you know what your true feeling is. While I was at school one day and he was staying home, he told my mum, and then when I came home, my mum like confronted me about it and asked me if that's what I really was or wanted to be. I guess they were supportive because I didn't get kicked out of home, but like whenever anything would be on TV that was like gay or something, they would say, oh, like it's disgusting or something, and I guess like trying to put like in my head that it was bad what I was doing or who I was. Then when I went to New York in 2013, I came back, and halfway through my year in New York, I decided I wanted to live as a woman. I had to come out a second time when I got back from New York. I told my mom and my family that that's how I was living, and yeah, they weren't supportive again, because it was almost like they had just finally gotten used to the fact that I liked men, and then they had to get used to the idea of me being a woman now, and that was quite a shock to them. But now I can say that they're very much supportive of me, and it takes time because like it took me years to figure out who I was, and then it takes them time as well to finally own that they have someone in their family that's trans. I decided to affirm my gender because I guess I was thinking about how I wanted to live my life, and when I was thinking about myself getting older, I was looking into the future, and then I didn't actually see an old man. I saw an old woman, and that's when I realized that that's what I wanted to do, and there was no other way I could live life unless I did that.
So about 2 years ago I moved to Darlinghurst, and I'm so happy I moved here. Victoria, my best friend, was always telling me, you've got to move, you've got to get out of there, because she grew up out west as well, and she was like, so much better here, and you know, you have to do it.
I've known Skye for, I think it's coming up to 10 years this year.
Victoria, she's my best friend, she's like my soulmate.
We both became trans women together, and we went through the journey together.
She inspires me so much. She inspired me to transition.
We've done beauty pageants together, we've performed together.
I love her outlook on life, and like she's very can-do. You know, there's nothing too hard for her.
There have been times where, like, obviously I think we're becoming like sisters in a way. She's very stylish, she's very gorgeous, so she knows definitely how to help with like looks and everything like that. Well, I started DJing when I was 21 or 21, and I was going out to the gay bars on Oxford Street, and I would just see all of these like amazing drag queens and DJs like playing amazing music, and I thought, wow, I would love to do that. So I got a grant with my university, and I actually bought my first DJ decks with the grant and a bit of money I saved up from my retail job, and I would just practice at home until I got good enough to enter a competition at Stonewall. From there everyone just kind of went, oh, she can DJ, like let's get her to come and DJ at my bar. And then I guess like I just started from there. I just started getting bookings. I think I love seeing people have fun and have a good time. I love seeing people do crazy dance moves. It's a good combination of like being out and visible as a trans woman. Yeah, I've DJ'd like basically in every gay bar in Sydney. I've travelled around Australia and New Zealand to DJ. Yeah, I love it. I guess like it works, and I'm happy to do it. Like I love playing music for people.
For my own personal journey, it was very much about stepping out of the shadows. I knew I could never be fully happy until I became a woman. And I felt really, really trapped for so many years, deeply unhappy, but I hid it behind a smile. You don't want to have a diluted version of yourself out there for the world to see. You want to be out there 100%. And I didn't realize how happy it would make me. It wasn't until I transitioned and started living full-time female and having all the medical and and surgical procedures over the years that made me feel complete. But I also realised that, this has been a lived experience now for nearly 20 years. The process of transitioning is one that really continues, transitioning, evolving as a woman, as myself, as the best version of myself. So this is Remy, and this is Rafi. One of the reasons I choose to be out is because the thing I am most proud of in my life is just being me. And I think that really claiming that space, owning who you are and choosing to be out about it works for me. And by doing that, I'm able to raise awareness in the larger community purely by living my life. I've had many opportunities to get out into the corporate world and tell my story. For a lot of straight people out there, particularly in the corporate world, they don't really understand the trans experience. And for a lot of them, they've never met a trans person that they know of. So when I get out there and I do public speaking, it's an opportunity in a safe environment to tell a story, to raise awareness, and to do a bit of advocacy work. And I think that's something I'm really passionate about.
It's so important to be visible. If people don't know that we're out there, we can't make change. So if people know that we're out there, governments know that we're out there, the wider community knows we're out there, then we can make some change or some progress, and maybe even change people's minds and perceptions about what trans people are, or who we are, what maybe breaks down some barriers and try to connect with people so we can live life better.
If I didn't know that being transgender could be possible, then I probably wouldn't have done this journey.
But I feel like if I did have, if there was more representation out there in the 90s, I would have definitely found myself a lot earlier.
Being trans is something I'm really, really proud of. I think we should all be proud to be trans, but we don't all have to be open and out about it. And you have to do whatever works for you in life.
It's really important to just inspire people, and that's how you create a community, I guess.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Colombian Hotel and welcome to Glamoré! Oh my God. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I love you all, and thank you for coming out in the rain. You're so amazing. I wasn't expecting as many people to come tonight, but I really appreciate all your support. First and foremost, this night is about having fun, fun, fun. Be yourself, dance, laugh, talk to each other, kiss each other, flirt, wear whatever you want, order a delicious cocktail. Being transgender is a real struggle most of the time, but we really need to let loose and have fun. I really don't know what this night will become, or I never really know what the future holds, but I've been organising this night with love in my heart, and I want to give you my positive energy and make you happy. This is for you. I'm doing it for you, all of you. I want you to feel like you are loved, that someone cares about you. I want you to feel safe in this environment and feel like you can do whatever makes you happy.
There was a burlesque show upstairs that ran once a month at Colombian Hotel, and that moved somewhere else. And then Maxie Shield, who was kind of working as the main entertainer at Colombian and was kind of suggesting who to book and everything, she approached me and asked me if I would ever do a trans event, and I said yeah, I would love to. So she kind of put me in touch with the managers, and then we talked about it, and then we got a poster together, and then the first night was a hit.
I thought it was a fantastic idea because there's not really many opportunities for trans and gender diverse people to get together, let alone to get up on a stage and be celebrated. I'd never, in all my years of going out on the scene, I'd never really seen it being done before.
What makes it fun is there's just a good positive vibe in the room, And it's just people who are genuinely there to have a good time, who are just there to support the girls and the occasional trans man who's brave enough to get on the stage, I guess.
Trans Glamoré is a great event that Victoria runs to help spread awareness and make trans lives visible and to be celebrated, and gives kids or anybody that sees Trans Glamoré can get inspired and know that it is okay, and there are people out there that can support them and make them feel like part of a community, and that they're not alone, and that it does get better, it can get better. And yes, maybe you're getting picked on at the moment at school, or you're not happy, maybe your family doesn't accept you, but there are people that will accept you and love you how you are and celebrate your uniqueness and your identity.
I feel like there needs to be somewhere where trans people can feel comfortable to express themselves as entertainers. And for a while I kind of felt like I was a bit alone. I didn't really know that many other trans girls who performed around Oxford Street. I knew there was a big history of trans women that performed, but when I first started coming out to the clubs, I was probably one of the only trans performers that was active around Oxford Street.
The main centre for transgender showgirls was King's Cross and Lay Girls. And the legend that is Carlotta led the girls up there on the stage at King's Cross. That was really the centre for transgender life in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And then the emergence of the drag scene in Oxford Street really took over. And that was very different to being transgender.
I would see little clips here and there on TV of Carlotta, so I knew that it was possible.
There used to be a place in Sydney at Taylor Square called the Taxi Club, and it was one of those sort of seedy, it had, a couple of floors, you'd have the poker machines, you'd have the dance floor at the top where they played all the disco music, but all the trans women would descend on that place. And unfortunately, the Taxi Club was closed down and turned into apartments. So after that, there was nowhere really for trans women to go and meet up, and there was nothing.
After the Taxi Club closed, people wanted to have somewhere to go that was for anyone on the feminine spectrum that wanted to perform, and especially trans women. It's open to trans men as well, but I don't really know that many, and non-binary people as well. So that was how it just came about. Maxie suggested, and then I put everything together, and I've been running it ever since.
Victoria kind of took it to that next level and started the Trans Glamoré Nights. And it's also an excuse, even if you're not getting up there and doing the shows, to come out, get dressed up, go out and meet other trans women. I think talking to other trans women, hearing our stories and offering our support to each other is a really important thing.
There's a sense of community among the girls who perform because, backstage when we're getting ready, everyone is helping each other, fix something or tie something up or, lend someone something when the outfit isn't working. So it's that sense of it's camaraderie, and it's just people uplifting each other, which is needed as well.
A lot of trans women, when they're starting out, it can take a while to feel really comfortable to go out and be seen and, in public and everything, and let alone performing on a stage at a club or, for everybody to see. So I think what Victoria is doing is so empowering and special in that regard as well, because, some girls come from the Central Coast to perform, or from really far away, because it's like their one special night to get out there and for the public to see them and for their true selves and be celebrated for their true selves and for living their truths.
I perform at these shows because more than anything, it's just fun. It's just good fun. It's not something that I do full time. it's not something that I would say I do this for a living, but it's a welcome distraction, it's a welcome escape for me.
You're able to get out there and socialise and meet other trans people, and also get to enjoy the show and a night out in a very safe environment where you are free to be yourself. And I think that's what's important here.
When Trans Glamoré was put on hold because of COVID, I was like, damn, like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, during COVID, I just remember, walking down Oxford Street and everything being closed, and even seeing Stonewall on a Saturday night empty, all the doors closed, dark. It was so unbelievable. Like, I'd never seen Oxford Street like that. It was so depressing, and it was like a ghost town, and I couldn't believe it.
It was really hard to go through COVID and the lockdowns and restrictions. I remember a day in March, it was March 19th, it was a Wednesday, and I was going in for my last shift at Slave for Pay, and I actually wore this dress. I wanted to be as glamorous as I could possibly be for the last shift that I would have. And I knew like it was no point in me chasing up any of the bars to try and like create something, because I knew there were too many restrictions. And I basically lost everything that day on a Wednesday, and I was working 6 to 7 nights a week, and I went from that to nothing.
She took it quite hard, I think. Obviously she's a DJ. This is her career, this is her livelihood. So, it was devastating. Like, she had no income,
I lost like a lot of like motivation to do anything when I lost all of my work, all of my DJ gigs. And then like she helped me get back on my feet by, encouraging me to do something creative. We started taking photos and doing like little videos, and that led to a few opportunities during COVID. When I wasn't DJing, I was doing more visual stuff. I was making videos, I was doing all kinds of different things. I tried to find a way to survive, even though it wasn't a lot of content, but we tried to find a way to survive. But the thing is, what I realized with Trans Glamoré, it's all about everyone coming together. Like, I tried to make it like, we were still doing the entertainment side of things, but it's very much, trans people performing and trans people coming and seeing each other every month. And I guess that was the hardest thing that I had to face with doing Trans Glamoré, not being able to do Trans Glamoré during COVID.
I started doing it because I needed extra money. That would probably be the first thing, because I moved and my rent was like a lot more than what I'd pay in Fairfield. And then Vicky was like, why don't you do shows? And then I did love that as well, and I felt like it was great to do it, because I felt like it empowered me and made me feel more secure and comfortable in my own skin and who I am. And I realized how much I do love doing all those things, doing what I wanted to do and exploring, different avenues and creative things that I love to do, and come up with routines and ideas and, put together an outfit and all of that. So it started off like, I guess, for the money, but also it was really fulfilling for me, for my soul and for my being. at the beginning, right before I get up on stage, I get super nervous. Like, probably the adrenaline going through my body. And then as soon as I get out there, it just goes away. Like,
Give it up for Skye Paez!
all of these things are going through my mind. And obviously how to connect with the audience. So every night it's a little bit different as well. Like, it depends how they're reacting to you, and then I might change up my routine a little bit, go with the flow. Like, I like to feel the room and stuff. So yeah, that's what's going through my mind. But I do get super nervous, like right before it. It's a way to express myself and my femininity and my, I guess, extrovert part of my personality. That is, very empowering, a lot of fun and exhilarating, and and also it gives me something to look forward to, like, to prepare for that night. And I feel like if you do drag or perform, a lot of the money goes towards that anyway, so it's not like you're making a lot of money. Like, you only do it if you love doing it, you get joy from it,
Give me Kaly Finbar a run for her money, almost like Kaly Finbar. I was like, Kaly Finbar is here! Skye Paez, everybody!
As a young kid, music was a way for me to not only escape the pain that I was feeling at the time, but also to express myself. Because growing up, obviously trans, in my childhood, there was a lot of things that weren't the way that I would hope they would like to be. So music kind of was that tool that allowed me to express myself and get things off my chest and write things down onto paper, and for that to be understood by other people. And I just found it a really helpful tool, and to this day I love music. I love writing music, I love performing, I love expressing myself through music. It's really been a really powerful tool for me throughout my life, and it will continue to be, because I'm only 19. I'd always known that Oxford Street was the LGBT hub of Sydney, and I was introduced to the show. I was invited to perform at the show by one of my good friends, Victoria. We met on social media, and we kind of developed a relationship on social media, and I actually haven't met her yet. But we messaged a bunch of times and we have a good relationship. Because I'd seen that she'd performed in the show, and I was like, oh, this looks fun. And I said, oh, this looks fun. And then I replied to one of her Instagram stories, and she said oh, if you want to come perform next time or something like that. And it kind of just went from there. And I'd never been presented with an opportunity. The Trans Glamoré, it's so good because it's a whole night celebrating trans performers, friends and family. It's so important, again, in terms of visibility. It's a really safe and welcoming space for a lot of trans people, which is very important because a lot of trans people don't have that. It's a really fantastic environment for people to come, relax, watch some amazing trans performers, and have a good time. It's really good vibes.
But you've never been yet?
I've never been, I know, I was gonna say that. We don't have to add that in. People don't have to know that. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited to perform. It's what I love doing. Being on stage and entertaining people is one of my favorite things to do. And plus I get to look fabulous and people get to enjoy that.
When it got to about August, September, I was just I can't wait anymore. We've done a couple of visual things, and I just said we need to get it started again, because I missed doing it, and a lot of people were messaging me and asking me when it was going to start again, and I tried to get it to move to the Colombian, but they were doing renovations at the time, and then they weren't ready to have anyone back, so that's when I moved it to Stonewall because they've always wanted me to move it there, and that's our new home.
Stonewall is...
It's people of all ages, all shapes and sizes.
There's all different age groups.
It's like a big gay sandwich.
Stonewall is a lot of fun.
It's iconic.
It's a safe space to express yourself.
It's a bit tacky.
It's been there like forever and it hasn't changed much.
I think Stonewall used to be a bank. Don't quote me on that.
It's sing-along, it's anything goes, it's Long Island iced teas.
A Long Island iced tea.
A Long Island iced tea.
Long Island iced tea. Because it's a mix of everything.
A Long Island iced tea is just one of those long drinks, and you're going to Stonewall, it's going to be a long night.
I actually don't like them.
Everything's basically sorted. I spent the day doing some music, last minute music adjustments, and the girls sent me all of the songs that they want to do for the night, and we've got 8 performers coming in. Lauren Hersey, who's launching her first single. Yeah, we're all ready to go. Well, the amazing Tammy Pons actually bought them in at a balloons shop, and she has she normally organizes a few little things behind the scenes before every trans Glamoré, and we're really grateful for all of her help.
So lucky to be here on Oxford Street, and just being me. Love it. Well, it's euphoria, and I mean, undescribable. To have the charisma to bring an audience in, and even to the point, some of them cried. It is the most important part of me, and I suppose that's why my performing's so important to me too, is just the visibility is so important, because people perceive us as freaks. Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to comprehend how a person in one body can think as another person, and have the perspective of the male and female side of it. And I'm so lucky that I could have lived the male side, the butchness and all that, the aggravation and all that sort of stuff, but to be the woman, to be the loving, caring part of me is beautiful.
I've got about an hour before I have to be at Stonewall, so plenty of time. I'm basically done with my eye makeup. I went to my cousin's place in New Zealand, in Wellington, and they're quite well off, and they had coins in the corners of their windows. I don't know, maybe it's a belief that it, like, putting coins on the windows brings in money, so.
Has it worked?
Well, I guess like it does work, but like right now I don't feel like it's working. You know, I find a way to make whatever situation I'm in work and be happy in that situation. Like, there were times in New York when I was getting paid like $8 an hour, and I was just busking in Times Square, and I was just relying on people's pocket change to live. So, you know, like, I lived during that time, and I can look back at that and I could say that's one of the best like years of my life, even without money. So like, money isn't really the most important thing overall in life, to be honest. I think the most important thing I've realized lately is like just to live your life, like, and like, you know, there's so many ways that you can live your life, but you need to live it the way you want to live it. That's what I tried to be doing. Like, it's hard, it's easier said than done, but I try to live my life as much as the way I want to live it as I can. Jokes. So good. Does not go into the documentary.
I'm such a social butterfly. I love to meet new people and just go out and about and just meet people.
Going to Trans Glamoré is like going to meet your friends and family. It's a very intimate sort of feel and very supportive. Everyone's really lovely and open, and you really do get that sense of a community.
There was nothing like a trans event where I could go and be celebrated for being trans, and that's why I felt like it was so important to start it, because there's nothing like that else. Like, there are drag shows and everything, and I love drag shows, but there's nothing really specific just for trans people to come in and perform.
It's very welcoming to all types of people, and yeah, it's just a very warm vibe, and the fact that even Victoria is so lovely as a host as well, and she makes everyone feel like you're going to her home.
Please give it up for the gorgeous Miss Stonewall, Skye Paez. We will be back
It's
for our
amazing, and there's nothing else like it in Australia, so we're very special to have it here on Oxford Street at Stonewall.
So it's so nice. It is actually a form of expressing ourselves, and it means more. It means a lot than just being a show. It's showing to everyone that being a trans woman, we're capable of many things. See ya.
Please welcome to the stage, Lauren Hersey.
With my song, it's called Skinny Legend. It encourages people to love themselves within, and that to look past the physical. It's a bop, so you can dance, go crazy, and it also has a good message in there, which I really am proud of. I'm very proud of it.
Catch me doing yoga. PTE is what I serve. Got deeper energy, listen and learn. Beautiful, bold, confident, sexy. Nobody can tell me anything.
Expressing myself and being myself, and for other people to understand and receive that in a positive way it's really validating. All the hard work I put into my performances and my music, it validates me as a person, that I'm worthy and that I'm enough.
Please give it up for Lauren! Thank you, gorgeous, for coming to Trans Glamoré.
I feel so good. That was so much fun. I'm already thinking about the next one. I'm like, when can I do that again? That was so much fun. Oh my gosh. It was so much fun being up on the stage, performing and everyone cheering and screaming, and it was just such a good time. I felt so happy and loved and accepted, and it was just a great time. I'm obsessed with Stonewall. Like, it's such a welcoming environment, and everyone's just so happy to be there, and it's so accepting and obviously of like LGBT and trans people, but it's just such a great space to be in, and you guys need to come to Trans Glamoré. It's such a fun time for everyone.
There are a lot of trans girls who had never performed, and then they get up and they perform and they love it, and they come back again and they want to do it. So yeah, I think that's like some of the highlights of Trans Glamoré. Seeing people smile and have a good time.
You know, it's like their one special night to get out there and be celebrated for living their truths. So it's really beautiful to watch, and it's amazing what Victoria's done, and I hope she continues to do it. I'm sure she will, and you know, in bigger, even better things.
I'm so excited for the future though, because I have so many things like planned and things that I want to do, so many dreams and goals. Like, I believe that if you work really hard, the sky's the limit.
For so long, the idea that we could possibly exist openly was denied. For so long, we were in the shadows. So I think it's important for girls or men like who fall under the trans umbrella to exist and to be visible, because it's a matter of surviving, you know?
It's a life or death situation. You make a choice in life. You either live in the shadows, make other people happy, or you step out into the light and you be yourself.
It's important because it's also you never know who the next person could be inspired by just watching you exist and watching you be.
Transitioning is enabling the world to see you for who you are, not who you were designated at birth. And being who we are, living our lives as full, complete people, is what is the birthright for all human beings.
At the end of the day, no one else knows what's going on in your head except you. No one is going to fully understand your thoughts and feelings the way that you do. So trust yourself.
You will come across a lot of hurdles, and you'll come across people telling you how you should live your life and who you should be. But you know who you are, and don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise.
The future holds more parties for Trans Glamoré, more getting together and having a good time. We call it gender euphoria. There's a lot more gender euphoria on the way, and just more happiness and celebration and visibility for trans people. And that's all we want to do. We just want to have a good time and express who we are and embrace being transgender and being proud of who we are.
Place your bed